We are back, and today we're actually be playing MLB The Show 20. But I have to finish installing it. Probably for the best I gotta finish installing it because we got some new Road to the Show changes here today. And I kind of want to go through some of the big points that I've enjoyed the most from it. I have a whole Twitter thread where I kind of go into the details here. So if you want to see that, you could give that a scroll. But they really put a lot of work in Road to the Show, which I think is pretty cool. Basically, you have these tokens to upgrade players. You can actually get drafted high in the draft, which funny enough, I think is a big deal. You basically always are a later round pick over and over and over again, no matter how well you do. Even if you played well or really badly, you got drafted low, and in many cases you had to grind through the minors. As part of what I've been testing with these old MLB The Shows, and why we're hopping on MLB 20 today is because we're going to be playing MLB 20's Road to the Show and comparing it to the current day of Road to the Show and the changes that we found out today. But this will be a full video on my main channel at some point where I'm playing every single Road to the Show. It's just been a lot of work getting it done because I have to play like 2 to 4 hours on each game, and I'm on like my 3rd week of recording right now. But they have a lot of like perk upgrades which look really cool. You get these perks through doing stuff in game, and you also can spend little token points that you also get for doing stuff in game. Like, it's really like a full refresh of Road to the Show that I think it's really needed. So we might do some Road to the Show content here on this channel along with the franchise and Diamond Dynasty stuff. Honestly, as we're getting more and more MLB 25 stuff and getting closer to the game, I really want this year to like be that year where I kind of dive into like the big 3 modes: franchise, Road to the Show, and Diamond Dynasty. Well, we don't really know stuff about franchise, but I have been enjoying playing it. And for the Diamond Dynasty folk who like Laughing Mountain Park, they've actually updated the stadium a lot. Batter's eye and center field, it's a lot bigger. It has a brand new scoreboard. It actually looks like a brand new stadium almost, but it's got the same dimensions and I'm assuming elevation. But let me stop yapping. Let's hop on MLB 20, shall we? Yeah, I think this is really when MLB The Show like actually reached like the modern era. MLB 19 was a very close first step to it in terms of a Diamond Dynasty front because MLB 18 was so like grindy and stuff for a game back then. But I think 20 was really the year, where it took a big step forward and actually felt like the modern game that we have. You can customize your PCIs now. I think this game had perfect hitting as well. The balance of in-game hitting started to really be taken seriously. All right, MLB 20's Road to the Show. Like I said, this is going to be like a full video at some point, but unfortunately the Road to the Show is very identical to what we had in MLB 19. And like, I think the mode had a lot of problems, especially with it being tied to Diamond Dynasty at around this time. I think it's a good way for us to kind of get a feel for the gameplay. I am playing on beginner, and I am playing with sliders all the way up. We're just going to be hitting, and we're going to be trying to hit a lot of tanks. I have a bunch of nostalgia about MLB 20, and in terms of Diamond Dynasty, it was like the only mode I played all year, and I loved it, man. I mean, you compare the game to nowadays, I think the game gets better each year, but I think this game, it really carried me through the pandemic. Wow, I did not do too well. When you got a silver on that. I am a shortstop. Wow. Gotta turn those off though, because I'm trying to speed run getting called up to the bigs in these games. That is really the goal here. That's why I'm playing all these MLB The Shows. We're trying to get a base experience for each Road to the Show, see what it's like getting called up to the bigs, and just like kind of get a feel for what the process of getting called up and grinding through the minors and stuff is like. Oh, let's go. We're all over that one. Let's go. It is always funny going back to these old MLB The Shows because like graphically pretty similar to nowadays. Like, this is like a 5-year-old game now, but there are always like a bunch of small things that you notice that make the difference, Like, this isn't like a PS5 optimized game at all. Like, you're obviously able to play it on here. It's not made for the PS5 that we have for MLB 21 and on. There are a lot of similarities in nowadays, but I think there's some more finer details that you notice the difference of, like the audio. The audio sounds so much worse on these games.
Singled in 4 at-bats in this contest. Here's a drive toward the gap in right center, and that's going to split the alley for extra bases.
But at its core, the game has been pretty similar for a while. Basically, the goal is to kick butt in the minors and kick as much butt as possible so I can get called up straight to the bigs as soon as possible. That has been the strategy that's worked for me. It's taken me about a couple hours of playing to actually get to that point. So if you could just stay locked in, we get called up to the bigs soon, that would be huge. Ooh, see, like, that didn't look right for some reason. It didn't feel right at all. All right, I gotta find the home run stroke. I gotta lock it in. I thought this game was gonna be a cakewalk. All right, bottom of the ninth, tying runner on second. Let's lock in here. Line out, you know? Okay, cool. Thanks for letting me know. I gotta turn off these tutorials, man. I really thought there was gonna be a big difference in the hitting and how it felt between 19 and 20. And I really don't think there is that much of a difference. All right. Wow. Yeah, they made it obvious that I failed that challenge. Not hitting well. This is beginner difficulty too. Like, I'm intentionally making it as easy as I can for myself. All right, so I gotta press right stick and that locks the camera onto the ball. Got it. All right. I really think, like, one thing you also feel when you go back to these games, like, even with MLB 20, it feels pretty rewarding. But like, I really do think the gameplay has gotten better with the hitting over the last couple years, with the different gameplay styles. You got competitive and simulation and all of that. I think that addition was like a pretty big one for mixing in these offline modes too. You know, you can really like tune the gameplay experience a lot more. Since I have been going through these old MLB The Shows and getting a feel for them, it has also made me more excited for MLB 25. I'm gonna sound like a broken record for the next like 30 days, man. Next week we find out franchise in March to October. All right, can this ball do anything? No. I'm on beginner difficulty with sliders turned up, and this is the toughest game I've had to hit. I did not expect it. I thought it was going to be easier.
A player new to his AA squad gets a tip from one of his coaches.
Also, I gotta say, I'm beefing with the narrator, man. He doesn't add anything to the mode. He really doesn't. It just adds a generic summary of what the heck is happening at a given moment. I think they're trying to go for the vibe of like, I don't know, like you're telling a story, so you have a narrator. You're watching a player's journey from outside, but I don't know. I feel like the narrator is just like not adding anything. He'll just be like, the player has a talk to his coach with some more information. All right, maybe we're not hitting the ball hard just because we're too contact focused as a hitter. And this might have been a game where like the contact hitters just were not good. And maybe that's why I was able to still hit homers in 19 and still crush it. Contact-y focused hitters were still good for that. Swing earlier. Maybe just start swinging earlier on middle pitches. All right, that should be a good cut. That ball should leave. There we go. We got a homer. Oh yeah. Have you guys seen the drama with the Red Sox and the Jays that's been happening today? It's been kind of nutty. Rafael Devers doesn't want to change from playing third base, but they literally just signed Bregman, who's like a good fielding third baseman, and he doesn't want to shift to DH. It's kind of nutty. I think it was one thing for the Yankees in trading for Jazz, because either him or Glaber was going to have to learn third base. Like, that was just, someone was going to have to learn the position. But in terms of the Red Sox, you have the solution right there in front of you. DH Devers, start Bregman at third, and that infield gets a better defender. Apparently, Tristan Casas also spoke out and said that he thinks that Bregman should just learn second base and that none of the young guys should make the bigs, which is a crazy thing for someone to say. Why is he's saying that like Roman Anthony or Marcelo Meyer, like those big prospects they have that have a chance, like they could play well and earn a spot, and they aren't going to start in the bigs? Like, you don't know that. Spring trading hasn't even started. You can't make that assumption. Also, you're a teammate of theirs. Also, walk-off 3-run homer. There we go. Look at the walk-off Seldy. Also, Vladdy's been very outspoken about his contract and not signing with the Jays long-term, and that his number was different than the Jays. Nutty, man. Absolutely nutty. So Vladdy's certainly gonna be a free agent this next year. The Jays didn't offer enough money, apparently. And listen, it's a lot like the Yankees and Aaron Judge situation a couple years ago. There were negotiations going on through the offseason, and the team didn't match their offer in mind. So they just went through the season and went to free agency. And like, I don't know if Vladdy's going to be a J or anything like that, but I feel like it's very normal for a player to want to go to free agency and just explore their options. But I feel like discussing it in the way he did kind of left people feeling a little sour, you know? Like, if you're a Jays fan and the way that he was explicitly saying that, you're like, man, the season hasn't even started. We're talking about the money. Basically just saying, hey, they didn't offer me enough money, so we're going to explore free agency before a single game is even played. I want to see where that man ends up this offseason. I hope, for the sake of it, Vladdy has a killer year. Like, he had a great year in 2024. I think he's going to be a really good player. Like, I think some people forget that he was young He got called up to the bigs really early on, and he had a couple down years. Yeah, he's also had some of the best offensive years. This almost reminds me a bit of, like, I guess you could say Bryce Harper. Yeah, he won MVP in 2015, and then after winning MVP, he had some like slightly worse years. And you look at Vladdy, he got called up when he was 20. He's had always above average offensive seasons. He was a runner-up in MVP in 2021 and has been pretty good since. He had a 166 OPS plus last year. You could argue nearly as good of a year as he had in 2021. I don't know, man. I think he's a really damn good player. I think some Jays fans are underrating how good Vladdy is. So he deserves a lot of money. Like, I mean, you look at some of the free agent contracts. Look at the contracts Soto got. I'm not expecting him to get that money. From a biased manner, I'd love for the Yankees to consider him as a first baseman, but I don't think they will. Go all in on Vlad. I know he's made his comments about not wanting to ever be a Yankee, but if you give that man enough money, he's got to want to be a Yankee. Just saying, just saying. I really don't know if it'll happen, but the opportunity is literally right there for the Yankees, man. And like, if you didn't get Soto and you're looking for like that, you know, that franchise player to lock down, I think Vladdy is a very damn good choice. I think some people are like underestimating how good of a hitter Vladdy is, or just how good of a player he is. Oh, this is Ship It, and this is old Ship It. This is high elevation Ship It Stadium. Heck yeah, we should hit some tanks here. Let's go. We're crushing it. And as I'm watching more Yankees stuff, I'm seeing like Cody Bellinger as a Yankee. Oh, man. He feels like a very good Yankee fit now that we're seeing him in the pinstripes and seeing him take some swings. He hit a tank off of Carlos Rodon yesterday, I think. I can't wait for the season to start, dude. And we're just a little bit away from spring training. This year isn't a year, but one day I would love to head down to Tampa and see all the Yankees spring training games. Well, obviously not all of them, but like head down there for like a week of spring training and see some of the games down there and just be a part of all the baseball stuff going on. A lot of people are actually heading out to Arizona, I think, for spring training this year. I know a few people who are going down there for some of the games or getting together for stuff. So one day I'd love to do that for Tampa. Wow, I didn't even sniff that PCI. And that's gone. Love Ship It. Love the sliders being maxed up. I want to go for the homer. Go for all of the gains. Yes, we got the homer. Suck it, Vinny Natoli. I don't know who he is. I really like the Italian sounding part of the name, though.
A swing and a drive sent out toward the gap. And this ball is gone.
Man, I gotta play and Ship It all the time. But yeah, I have actually really liked playing MLB 20. I would have loved to play Diamond Dynasty, but you know, unfortunately the servers are down. But it feels good being back on this game, seeing that old score bug on the corner, listening to Matty V on the commentary. This is, without a doubt, my favorite MLB The Show. Not because of, like, the game itself, you know. Obviously, you go to the newer games. I think there are things that are better. But this was the most fun I had playing an MLB The Show game, like, during the pandemic. I was in absolute no life of MLB 20. So, it's been fun coming back here and, like, reliving that nostalgia. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back with the Chicago Dogs franchise here soon. I'll see you again on next one.